Let's begin populating our form with some fields. We've already got that done. We did it in the previous segment. And so we're right up here, blinking inside that form. Remember, you have to be there. And all you do is, well, start clicking buttons. How about this one right here, which is a text field? When you click it, you will get the input tag accessibility attributes. Give this a name, like NAME comes to mind. That's the name that's associated with the data field. The client doesn't see this. The program, the CGI, sees this and associates what we're going to type into this field with a name and not a zip code. Okay, so it's important you have that name. The label is what the client sees, so it makes sense to make that look nice and pretty, like maybe something like that. We can attach the label with a for attribute, or we can wrap the whole tag. Most cases, for is the most universal, and most browsers will show it the same way. No label tag, I wouldn't suggest using that one, because if there's no label tag, then the programs that read to the visually impaired will have a difficult time identifying the field. So this is a good thing to do. In the case of the type of data that we're doing, where you enter in a name, choose before, because that makes sense. Put the label to the left, not to the right. What's an access key? If I put the letter N for name in here, I suppose, some browsers, not all, if you press Alt-N, that's Option N on a Mac, same key, different name, allows you to actually access the field with an Alt-N. Not all browsers support it, like I said, it's up to you if you want to use it. Tab index. We will have more than one data field, like say name, address. I'm in the US, so it would be city, state, and zip code. So you got 5 fields there. If I do a tab index on this one of 1, and on address 2, you get it, 3, 4, 5, when people use the tab key, it will use that order. Now, if I've got name, address, city, state, and zip, and I make zip code tab index 2, when they press the tab key, it'll jump all the fields and go to the zip code. That's what the tab index is. You can use it if you want. If not, it defaults just basically to going through them. We've got everything we need. Go ahead and click OK. And there is our first field. Aren't we excited? Click in there. Look down here on Properties. There's our name. So we can choose to change that if we want to. Character width. That's not enough for most names. That's hardly enough for my name, Andy Anderson. So let's give that a little bit more width, like say about 70 characters. Let's do 70. Now watch what happens. It gets longer. This is a single line. I don't want them typing in multiple lines. It's a name. Is it a password field? Basically what that means is when you type in it, you'll see little dots come up so nobody can see your top secret password. This is not a password field. We can change the class. Now, I do have a class called form data, and we're going to use that one. What that's going to do is when you type, the text will be black as opposed to that light gray. That's about all it's doing. But that is up here, form data. And so if you want to check it out, it's right there. Maximum number of characters. In a name, we can't make that assumption. We leave that alone. Do you want an initial value in there, like enter name here? Up to you. Do you want to disable the field or make it read-only? We'll leave those two alone for now. Before we check this out in a browser, let's add a few more fields. Let's populate this thing with an address, city, state, zip kind of look. And we'll press the Enter key to the right of the word name, and we'll go up to the field button again, this one right here, for a text field. Click it. Add a data name, and we'll call it address. And a label, which is for the person that's going to see it. We'll leave everything else alone. And we will click OK, and there's address. Let's click in that field right here. Let's give that a character width of about, say, 65 or so. Something like that. Come to the right again, press the Enter key, click that button again. This one's going to be for the city, so C-I-T-Y. I'm pressing the Tab key to jump between fields. This is the one that the person sees, so we'll make that pretty. Everything else is OK. Click OK. Let's give that field, let's say about 55. To the right, press the Enter key. One more time, actually 2 more times. And this will be state, S-T-A-T-E, and S-T-A-T-E, and click OK. Now, state codes in the US are just 2 characters. So I want you to come down here after we've selected it. And you will notice character width. Now, I'd like to give people a bit of wiggle room. And if I just put character width of 2, sometimes those letters look like they're really crammed in there. So what I'm going to do there is give it a width of 3, but I'm going to say maximum characters of 2. Okay. to the right of state again. Press the enter key one more time, and we are going to do one more field for zip code. And that, of course, would be, let's just call it zip for its ID, and we'll call it zip code for the person looking at it. Click OK. Zip codes in the United States are 5 characters followed by 4. Now, that 4 thing was added, it must have been 25 years ago, and nobody ever uses it. So we're not going to bother with the extra 4, but we only want them to type in 5. So we will select here, and we will come down to character width, and of course type in 6. Give them a little bit of wiggle room, but only allow them to type in 5 characters. That might seem strange, but if you tried it 5 and 5, you could check it out. To me, it seems a little bit crowded. All right, we've got it all done. Press save, and I'm going to come up to the magic little globe and go down, say, to Safari. All right, let's go ahead and check this out. Here's the name field, Andy Anderson. Now notice what it did for me. I've got this thing set up in Safari to do a self-fill, which is what it exactly did. Normally I would have to type all that information in, but as you can see, everything's all typed and nice and neat. If we come into Kansas right here, let me select that and get rid of it. Notice I can only type in 2 characters. No matter how much I type, no matter how much I curse, I only get 2. So we'll type in Kansas again. We're just getting started, but we're beginning to make a form, and as you can begin to see, it's not that difficult really to make these things. But let's go ahead and get out of here. It's going to ask me a question. Are you sure you want to close this window? Because I've got data in there. I'm going to say yes. Don't forget to save what we have for the next segment.